Welcome to the Ikigai Diet. In this chapter, you'll discover how the food we eat can shape not only our health, but also our purpose and joy in daily life. We'll uncover why Okinawans, among the longest living people in the world, see meals as more than nutrition. They are rituals of gratitude, balance, and connection. From eating until you're 80% full to embracing plant-based, seasonal foods, their habits show us how longevity and fulfillment are built bite by bite. By the end, you'll see that the Ikigai diet isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. Section 1. Eating for longevity. In Okinawa, food is never just fuel. It is medicine, ritual, and a quiet declaration of harmony with life. When researchers first studied the island's centenarians, they were struck not only by how long people lived, but how vibrantly they aged. 80-year-olds were still tending gardens, walking daily, and enjoying meals with family and friends. Their secret was not a miracle supplement or exotic ingredient. It was the simple, consistent practice of eating for longevity. At the heart of this approach is a principle called Hara Hachi Bu. Eat until you are 80% full. This phrase is more than dietary advice. It is a cultural mantra passed down through generations. By stopping before complete satiety, Okinawans avoid the strain of overeating, reduce metabolic stress, and keep the body light and energized. Modern science now supports what tradition always knew. Caloric moderation can slow aging, protect against disease, and extend life expectancy. The body thrives when it is nourished, not overloaded. The Okinawan table itself looks very different from what many in the modern world are used to. Instead of heavy portions of meat, dairy, or processed food, it is filled with vibrant colors from the land and sea. Purple sweet potatoes, rich in antioxidants, once formed the staple of the diet. Fresh vegetables and leafy greens, many grown in home gardens, supply fiber and micronutrients. Soy-based foods like tofu and miso provide plant protein, while seaweed adds minerals drawn from the ocean. Fish is eaten sparingly, often just a few times a week, and red meat is rare. Meals are often accompanied by green tea, known for its calming properties and beneficial compounds. This emphasis on plants, variety, and moderation has profound effects on health. Studies of Okinawan centenarians show extremely low rates of heart disease, dementia, diabetes, and obesity compared to populations in Western countries. Instead of relying on restrictive diets or chasing new health trends, Okinawans simply follow seasonal rhythms. Eat until satisfied but not full, and choose whole, unprocessed foods. Longevity is not a product of deprivation, but of mindful abundance, having just enough of the right things. Equally important is the way food is prepared and consumed. Dishes are light, often boiled or steamed rather than fried, which preserves nutrients and avoids excess oils. Seasonings are simple. Miso, herbs, ginger, and turmeric add flavor and healing properties. Meals are not rushed, they are savored slowly, often with gratitude expressed before eating. This unhurried pace allows digestion to work smoothly and reinforces the idea that food is a gift, not something to consume mindlessly. Contrast this with the modern diet in many industrialized nations. Fast food eaten in cars, oversized portions, and processed snacks that leave us sluggish and unsatisfied. The Okinawan way reminds us that longevity is not built on convenience, but on intention. Every choice at the table shapes not only our health today, but also the vitality we carry into the decades ahead. Eating for longevity is not about rigid restriction or chasing perfection. It is about returning to simplicity. Fresh, seasonal foods, eaten in moderation, enjoyed with presence. When we align our eating habits with this philosophy, we move closer to the kind of balanced, purposeful life embodied by the elders of Okinawa. Their example shows us that the path to a long, healthy life does not lie in expensive superfoods or fleeting diet trends, but in everyday choices grounded in wisdom and respect for the body. Section 2. Food as community and ritual. In Okinawa and other long-lived regions of Japan, food is never just about nutrients or calories. It is a bridge between people, generations, and even the natural world. To eat is to connect, and meals become daily rituals that nourish both the body and the spirit. This cultural dimension of diet is often overlooked in the modern world, where eating has become rushed, distracted, and individualistic. Yet for Okinawans, the communal and ritual aspects of food are as essential to health as the ingredients themselves. Meals are rarely eaten alone. Families, neighbors, and friends gather around low wooden tables, sitting on tatami mats, sharing dishes placed in the center. Portions are modest, but variety is abundant, encouraging conversation as bowls of vegetables, tofu, and seaweed are passed around. Eating is slow, unhurried, with chopsticks picking thoughtfully rather than forks shoveling quickly. Children learn from an early age that mealtime is not just about feeding the body, but about respecting the food, the cook, and the company. This sense of gratitude is deeply rooted in tradition. Before eating, Okinawans often say itadakimasu, a phrase meaning, I humbly receive. It is a moment of mindfulness, acknowledging the farmers, the animals, the natural world, and the hands that prepared the meal. Afterward, they may say, Gochisu sama deshita, expressing thanks for the nourishment and effort given. These rituals cultivate a spirit of appreciation, transforming even the simplest meal into a sacred act of connection. Beyond the home, food also strengthens community bonds. Festivals, village gatherings, and seasonal celebrations always revolve around shared meals. Traditional dishes are prepared in large pots, and neighbors contribute ingredients, time, or skill. These occasions create a sense of belonging that extends beyond the family unit. In fact, studies of longevity consistently show that strong social ties are as important as diet or exercise in determining health outcomes. A meal eaten in good company is digested differently. It lightens the spirit, reduces stress, and fosters resilience. Contrast this with modern eating habits in much of the industrialized world. Meals are often eaten in isolation, in front of a screen, or while rushing to the next task. Processed convenience foods dominate, replacing the act of preparing and sharing with the ease of grabbing and going. The result is not only poor nutrition, but also a loss of social nourishment. The body may be fed, but the deeper human need for connection remains empty. The Okinawan ritual of communal eating helps explain why people there live so long with such vitality. Eating slowly in the company of others improves digestion, lowers stress hormones, and increases the joy of the meal. The laughter of friends, the comfort of family, the rhythm of conversation, these are as healing as the vitamins in the vegetables. Modern science now recognizes what Okinawan tradition has long practiced, that loneliness is toxic to health, while social connection can be as protective as any medicine. Food also carries memory and identity. Recipes are passed down from mothers to daughters, fathers to sons, linking generations. A bowl of miso soup tastes not just of fermented soybeans and broth, but of family kitchens, ancestral hands, and community traditions. To eat in Okinawa is to reaffirm identity, to know one's place in the web of life, and to feel grounded in something larger than oneself. By making meals into rituals of gratitude and togetherness, Okinawans remind us that food is not just about survival or even health, it is about meaning. Every shared meal is a practice of Ikigai, reinforcing purpose through connection, culture, and care. For those seeking longevity and fulfillment, it is not enough to focus on what we eat. We must also consider how and with whom we eat. The nourishment of community is inseparable from the nourishment of food. Section 3, Plant-Based and Seasonal Living. If there is one thread that runs consistently through the diets of the world's longest-lived people, it is this. Plants form the foundation. In Okinawa, this truth is visible in every meal. Gardens overflow with leafy greens, sweet potatoes, herbs, and seasonal vegetables, while the sea offers edible seaweeds rich in minerals. Meat and dairy play only supporting roles, appearing infrequently and in small portions. Instead of treating plants as a side dish, Okinawans place them at the center, shaping their meals around nature's rhythm. Historically, the Okinawan diet derived about 70% of its calories from sweet potatoes, vibrant purple tubers filled with antioxidants and complex carbohydrates. These were not just food, but lifelines that carried generations through hardship, providing steady energy without the health burdens that refined grains and processed sugars bring. To this day, purple sweet potatoes remain a symbol of resilience and vitality in the region. Alongside them come bitter melon, Goya, known for its blood sugar regulating properties, leafy greens like shikuwasa leaves, and tofu, made fresh from soybeans. Together, these foods supply fiber, plant-based protein, and phytonutrients that protect the body from disease. Another distinctive feature is the respect for seasonality. Okinawans eat what the earth provides in its natural cycles. Spring brings tender greens, summer offers bitter melon and cucumbers to cool the body, autumn yields sweet potatoes and squashes, and winter provides root vegetables that ground and sustain. By eating seasonally, they align their bodies with nature's rhythms, ensuring freshness, variety, and nutritional balance. This seasonal cycle prevents monotony, strengthens the immune system, and reduces reliance on processed imports. Every bite is a reminder of connection to land and time. Sea vegetables, often overlooked in Western diets, are a staple here. Wakame, kombu, and hijiki bring iodine, calcium, and trace minerals drawn directly from the ocean. Combined with tofu and vegetables, they create meals that are light but nutrient-dense, supporting longevity without excess. Fish, when eaten, is typically oily varieties like mackerel or sardines, rich in omega-3 fatty acids. These are consumed sparingly, reinforcing the plant-first philosophy while still offering essential nutrients for heart and brain health. Science has increasingly validated this way of eating. Plant-based diets are linked to reduced risk of heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. Seasonal produce contains higher levels of vitamins and antioxidants than food stored or shipped long distances. Even the act of eating more plants and fewer animal products reduces inflammation, a key driver of aging. What Okinawans practice out of cultural habit is now echoed by nutritionists and longevity researchers around the world. But perhaps the most powerful lesson is not only in the what, but in the why. Plant-based seasonal eating is not a rigid rulebook or a modern health fad. It is a natural expression of harmony with the environment. By eating what grows nearby and in season, Okinawans honor the cycles of nature and minimize waste. Food is not divorced from its source. It is a daily reminder of interdependence. This relationship with nature infuses every meal with a quiet sense of gratitude and belonging. For those outside of Okinawa, embracing this philosophy does not require a complete reinvention of diet. It begins with small shifts, filling half the plate with vegetables, choosing local produce when possible, experimenting with plant-based proteins, or simply paying attention to what is in season. By centering meals on plants and reducing reliance on processed or imported foods, we not only support our bodies, but also tread more lightly on the planet. To live with Ikigai means to live in rhythm, with ourselves, with others, and with the natural world. The plant-based, seasonal diet of Okinawa is a tangible expression of this rhythm. It is food as harmony, food as medicine, food as a daily practice of balance. When we eat this way, we are not just feeding our bodies, we are aligning with the deeper cycles of life itself. Section 4, Balance, Moderation, Enjoy Longevity in Okinawa, is not achieved by rigid self-denial or strict dietary rules. Instead, it is sustained through balance, a gentle, natural moderation that makes food both nourishing and joyful. Unlike modern approaches to dieting, which often swing between extremes of indulgence and restriction, the Okinawan way embraces harmony. It is a lifestyle that allows pleasure without excess, structure without rigidity, and health without obsession. The principle of Hara Hachi Bu, eating until 80% full, sits at the heart of this balance. By stopping short of fullness, Okinawans avoid the discomfort and health risks that come with overeating. This practice not only reduces strain on the body, but also cultivates mindfulness. Eating becomes a conscious act, where attention is given to taste, texture, and satisfaction rather than mindless consumption. Science now shows that this habit lowers the risk of obesity and metabolic diseases, while extending lifespan through caloric moderation. But for Okinawans, it is not about restriction. It is about enjoying just enough. Moderation also appears in food choices. While vegetables, tofu, seaweed, and sweet potatoes form the foundation, occasional treats are welcomed. A piece of pork at a festival, a sweet made from rice flour during seasonal celebrations, or a glass of awamori, Okinawan rice liquor, shared among friends. All of these have their place. These moments are not considered cheating, but are embraced as part of life's richness. The key is frequency and portion. Indulgences are rare, small, and shared, ensuring they bring joy without imbalance. This joy is an essential element. Food is not seen as something to fear or control, but as a source of delight and gratitude. Meals are colorful, carefully presented and enjoyed slowly. Sharing laughter with friends, listening to stories of elders, or simply pausing to appreciate the aroma of freshly cooked miso soup, these moments nourish more than the body. They nurture the heart and spirit, reminding us that joy itself is a form of medicine. Stress, after all, is one of the greatest threats to health, and joyful eating helps counteract it. Contrast this with much of the modern diet culture, where eating is often shadowed by guilt. People oscillate between overindulgence and rigid restrictions, treating food as either enemy or savior. This emotional strain not only harms mental well-being, but can also create unhealthy cycles. In Okinawa, there is no such battle. Food is approached with lightness, gratitude, and trust in natural balance. The diet succeeds not because it forbids, but because it integrates both discipline and pleasure into everyday life. Even the structure of meals reflects moderation. Portions are small, dishes are numerous, and variety ensures that no single food dominates. This diversity provides a full spectrum of nutrients while keeping each portion modest. Eating slowly gives the body time to register fullness, further reinforcing balance. Rather than finishing with heaviness, Okinawans leave the table with energy, satisfied but not burdened. The lesson here is profound yet simple. Health is not found in extremes. It is found in the middle path, where nourishment and enjoyment coexist. By practicing moderation, honoring tradition, and embracing joy, Okinawans create a sustainable way of eating that supports both longevity and happiness. Their example teaches us that food is not just about what we put into our bodies, but how we experience it, whether with guilt and urgency or with gratitude and delight. In this way, balance becomes more than a dietary guideline. It becomes a philosophy of life. To live with Ikigai is to recognize when enough is enough, to cherish small pleasures, and to find harmony between discipline and joy. The Ikigai diet is not just about extending years, but about enriching them, with meals that leave both the body and the spirit well fed. Section 5. Lessons for us. The beauty of the Ikigai diet is that it isn't an exotic prescription reserved for the people of Okinawa. It is a set of timeless principles that can be adapted to almost any culture, lifestyle, or kitchen. While the foods themselves may differ, the wisdom behind them is universal. By applying these lessons to our daily lives, we can begin to align our eating habits with health, connection, and purpose. The first and perhaps simplest lesson is to eat more plants. Most of us can increase the proportion of vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains on our plates without dramatic changes. This doesn't require giving up meat entirely, but it does mean shifting the focus. Instead of a large piece of meat with a small side of vegetables, flip the ratio. Make plants the star and let animal products or heavier foods play supporting roles. Over time, this adjustment naturally reduces the risk of chronic disease and increases vitality. The second lesson is to eat until you're no longer hungry, not until you're full. Practicing Hara Hachi Bu in a modern context might mean pausing halfway through a meal, putting the fork down, and checking in with the body. Are you still hungry, or are you eating out of habit? Learning to stop before fullness takes practice, but it cultivates awareness and prevents the sluggishness that comes from overeating. This simple shift can dramatically improve digestion, energy levels, and long-term health. The third lesson is to embrace seasonal and local foods. In many places today, supermarkets provide strawberries in winter and tomatoes in every season. While convenient, this abundance disconnects us from natural rhythms. Choosing produce that is grown locally and seasonally not only increases freshness and flavor, but also supports the environment and local farmers. Even small changes, like eating apples in autumn or leafy greens in spring, reconnect us with cycles larger than ourselves. The fourth lesson is to slow down and make meals social whenever possible. Eating alone, in front of a screen, or on the run robs us of both nourishment and joy. By sitting down, sharing a table, and savoring food with others, we replicate one of Okinawa's greatest secrets: the health benefits of community. Even if schedules are busy, carving out one meal a day to eat with family, friends, or colleagues can shift eating from a chore into a ritual of connection. The fifth lesson is to choose natural over processed. The modern diet is full of refined sugars, artificial additives, and highly processed foods designed for convenience. These provide calories but little nourishment. Okinawans remind us that simplicity is powerful. Fresh vegetables, simple soups, steamed grains, or lightly grilled fish contain everything the body needs to thrive. We don't need complexity, we need authenticity, food that is close to its source. Finally, perhaps the most overlooked lesson is to bring joy and gratitude to the act of eating. When we say a quiet thank you before a meal, when we appreciate the colors and aromas on our plate, when we share laughter at the table, food becomes more than fuel. It becomes a daily practice of Ikigai. In this way, eating is no longer just about survival or even health. It becomes about meaning, connection, and celebration of life. These lessons are not meant to be adopted all at once. Start with one, perhaps slowing down at dinner, or choosing a seasonal vegetable at the market, or trying to stop before fullness. Over time, each small shift builds into a way of eating that feels natural, sustainable, and deeply nourishing. The goal is not perfection, but alignment with our bodies, our communities, and the rhythms of the earth. When we begin to live the Ikigai diet, we are not simply adding years to our life. We are adding life to our years. The lessons of Okinawa remind us that longevity is built not only on what is on the plate, but also on how, why, and with whom we eat. It is in these daily choices, repeated over decades, that health, joy, and meaning are quietly cultivated. Section 6. The Ikigai Diet in Daily Life. The Ikigai Diet is not a rigid plan, nor is it something to follow with charts and calorie counts. It is a philosophy, a way of approaching food that blends balance, mindfulness, and connection. While the Okinawan lifestyle may seem distant from the pace of modern life, its wisdom can be adapted into simple, practical steps that fit into our daily routines. By doing so, we transform eating from an unconscious habit into a daily practice that nourishes body, heart, and purpose. One of the easiest places to begin is with meal preparation. In Okinawa, food is often cooked at home using fresh ingredients. This does not mean elaborate dishes or long hours in the kitchen. Rather, it reflects a preference for simple, wholesome meals. Making a pot of miso soup, steaming vegetables, or preparing a salad with seasonal greens can be done quickly, yet it reconnects us to the rhythm of cooking. Preparing food mindfully also allows us to control portions and avoid the excess oils, sugars, and additives hidden in many prepackaged options. Another daily practice is creating a rhythm of eating. Instead of constant snacking or irregular meals, Okinawans tend to eat at set times, with enough spacing between meals for digestion and energy balance. This aligns closely with modern research on fasting and metabolic health, showing that periods of rest between meals allow the body to repair, regulate blood sugar, and avoid weight gain. Adopting a rhythm, such as 3 balanced meals, or even 2 meals with lighter snacks, creates structure and stability for both body and mind. The Ikigai diet also encourages us to reclaim the act of eating slowly. In a world of rushing, multitasking, and eating in front of screens, this may feel unnatural at first, but slowing down, even just by setting aside distractions, chewing more thoroughly and pausing between bites, enhances digestion, prevents overeating, and allows us to truly savor food. This mindfulness turns eating into a ritual rather than a reflex. It also creates space for gratitude, a subtle but powerful practice that shifts the focus from consumption to appreciation. Social connection is another daily ingredient. Okinawans rarely eat alone, and even when they do, food is approached with care and respect. For those outside such communities, this might mean sharing more meals with family, scheduling weekly dinners with friends, or even organizing small gatherings around simple home-cooked dishes. Eating together deepens relationships, reduces stress, and reminds us that nourishment is not just physical, it is emotional and spiritual as well. Practical adjustments also matter. Incorporating seasonal local foods can be as simple as visiting a farmer's market, choosing what looks fresh, or planting a small herb garden at home. Even in cities, it is possible to prioritize local produce or adapt recipes to reflect what is in season. Each of these choices strengthens the connection between our meals and the natural world, making eating more intentional and grounded. Perhaps most importantly, the Ikigai diet encourages a shift in perspective. Food is not an enemy to be controlled, nor a temptation to resist, but a daily companion on the journey of life. By reframing meals as opportunities for health, connection, and joy, we step away from the cycles of guilt and restriction that dominate much of modern diet culture. Instead, we adopt a relationship with food that is sustainable, compassionate, and life-affirming. Living the Ikigai diet in daily life does not require living in Okinawa or perfectly replicating its traditions. It is about weaving the spirit of the diet into the fabric of our own context. A bowl of lentils, a fresh apple, or a shared cup of tea can carry the same wisdom if approached with intention and gratitude. Over time, these practices accumulate, not as quick fixes, but as steady, lifelong habits that create health and meaning. In this way, every meal becomes an opportunity to live with Ikigai. Each bite, each gathering, each moment of gratitude strengthens not only the body, but also the sense of purpose that sustains a long, joyful life. The Ikigai diet is not only about eating to live longer, it is about eating to live better, with vitality, balance, and joy at every stage of life. That wraps up the Ikigai diet. We've explored how what we eat, how we eat, and with whom we share meals can profoundly impact our health, joy, and sense of purpose. By practicing moderation, savoring seasonal foods, and embracing gratitude at every meal, we can nourish not just our bodies but our spirit. But longevity is not built on diet alone. In the next chapter, we'll explore the role of gentle movement, simple, consistent activity that supports strength, flexibility, and vitality, showing how combining mindful eating with mindful motion helps us live longer, healthier, and more meaningful lives.